Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna. I am Rajarsi Dasa. Welcome to Hare Krishna today. On today's program, we are continuing our series studying the material nature. And we are doing so based on an evaluation examination for students aspiring for spiritual initiation. So, just to give some brief thought on the overall subject matter of material nature. In context, we are eternal spirit souls, as we would study later on, the soul and the super soul. But right now, what we're experiencing is our encounter or contact with material nature. What we're experiencing is ourselves, eternal souls, under the spell of Maya or illusion, now thinking ourselves to be physical bodies, a product of the material nature. Now this Maya or illusion, identifying as a product of material nature, actually, it is a very dangerous situation for the soul. When I say dangerous, the soul is eternal, nothing can happen to the soul. But under the spell of illusion, it results in avidya karma samgyanya. Ignorance results in hard struggle for existence. In other words, all the toiling and the great endeavor in this world is because of ignorance. And this is due to the soul allowing himself to be influenced by the material nature. Imagine somebody just forcing you or inducing you to carry unnecessary baggage. Doesn't belong to you. You don't have to carry it. But they're inducing you to carry a whole set of unnecessary heavy luggage. Or think about it. You're paying interest in a mortgage that you never took. You never took this loan, but you have to carry the burden of paying interest. Well, think about it. We're eternal spirit souls. Liberated souls. The spirit soul is eternal. It belongs to the eternal atmosphere. Unfortunately, having come in contact with this Maya or this material nature, it said, Yaya samohita jiva atmanam tri gunatmakam. We discussed the three modes of material nature. Now this eternal soul is now identifying as a product of this material nature. Product of material nature means this body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. We already covered these elements previously in our study. The gross elements, subtle elements, material elements, mind, intelligence, and false ego. False ego we describe. False concept, the eternal soul thinking, I am man, I am woman, I am black, I am white. And this also is a big burden, isn't it? What about racial discrimination? What do you think is the origin of that? The ignorance of thinking, I am a physical body. So Maya is really setting us up. Yes, Maya is really having us carry unnecessary load. Or just imagine, you know, when you're going through, when you're a traveler and you're going through immigration, customs, and so on, you have to make some declaration. And you know, one thing they would ask you, did you pack your bag yourself? Well, what about all this baggage that we are carrying? Are we carrying something? Is Maya setting us up? Are we carrying something that will get us into trouble? Yeah, exactly so. That's the case. Maya is setting us up, and we are carrying luggage, illegal things that are not good for us, and then we get caught and we are sentenced, we are imprisoned. Yes. So we are carrying things that imprison us. Not good for us. So let us go through the balance of the questions under the subject matter of material nature, and then we're going to take them one by one. Number 10, explain what is karma and how it affects the living entity. Now, the subject matter, this word karma is quite common, right? Quite popular all over the world today. Karma gets commonly used, and unfortunately, people have grave misunderstandings about it also. So, karma, then 11, what reactions are produced by pious activities? What reactions are produced by impious ones? Give some examples. 12. Explain what is meant by devas. Devas or demigods give names and activities of 5 demigods. 13. Define Varna Ashram Dharma. What are the duties pertaining to each Varna and Ashram? When we come to that, we'll explain the details of what it actually is. Which Varna and Ashram do you think suit you best? How do you see yourself within this institution? 14. Who is Kali? What are the evils that affect the age of Kali? That's the present age we are living in. 15. Explain the Vedic conception of time and its cycles. How is Brahma's life duration calculated? Give the length of the different yugas and describe them, as well as the spiritual processes for each age. Quite a bit of fun, right? Discussing these subject matters. And we're trying to help some students in the Caribbean who are preparing for spiritual initiation, but we're taking the opportunity to share these subject matters with our viewers also. So let's take the first one. Explain what is karma and how it affects the living entity. Now, we have some concept of karma. Something happened to someone and someone else will say, well, that's your karma. That's true. That's your karma. But the word karma is used in different contexts. So let us first look at the use of the word karma, and then we would look at the definition in different contexts. Generally, the word karma means action, but then it means reaction also. And that depends on how you're looking at it. But then the same word karma is understood in a deeper sense. There are different types of karmas. In other words, karma exists, or reactions exist in different forms, like bija in a seed form, or desire. form. Or you perform the actions and it's bearing fruit, karma phal. So all these are different descriptions, detailed descriptions of karma. But the word karma is used by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita to describe himself also. Hear what he says. He says, Janma karma chame divyam. He says that anyone who understands my birth, my janma, and my karma, my activities, that are divyam, very important word, he qualifies. He's speaking about his karma, but he's saying divyam. He's speaking about janma, his birth. But this is something that people have problem understanding. God takes birth. Of course, he says in the Bhagavad Gita, he is aja or unborn. So how does the unborn take birth? Well, he can do so, but his birth or his appearance in this world is divyam. So he says in the 4th chapter, that's text 9, Janma karma chame divyam. That anyone who understands my janma and my karma, my birth and my activities that are divyam, evam yo veti tatvataha. If you understand this in truth, not just superficially, like sometimes people say, oh Krishna, yeah, I know his birth. Yeah, we celebrate that every year. That's Janamashmi, right? Yes, the birth of Lord Krishna. Yeah, I know he appeared 5,000 years ago. That's in the prison of Kansa, right? That place still exists in Mathura, right? Yeah, I've been to India. I've seen that place where Krishna took birth. Yeah. But is that really understanding it in Tatvataha, in truth? Do you really know about the personality Krishna and his appearance in this world and the divine nature? Do you know that in truth? Now, Krishna says, if you understand this in truth, some amazing result. Tyatva deham. Deha means this body. So he says tyatva, when you give up this body, in other words, at the time of death, you will not have to come back in this world and take another body again. Amazing. Yes? If you know Krishna's appearance and activities, the result would be that you, the eternal soul, will not have to come back in this atmosphere, this material world, and take another body again. In other words, that's what we call liberation, freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Remember, Krishna says earlier on, 2nd chapter, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha. For one who has taken birth in this world, death is certain. And for one who has died, birth is certain. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. In other words, we, the eternal souls, we don't die. We have to come back and take birth whether we know it or we don't. And we always run into this problem with people saying, well, I don't believe in this thing, this reincarnation thing you're talking about. Oh, why don't you believe in the reincarnation thing? I'm not a Hindu. Oh, true. You're not a Hindu. Fine. We don't have a problem with that. You don't have to be a Hindu to believe or understand reincarnation. There's a book called Reincarnation is a Christian Doctrine, written in 1914 by the liberal Catholic Church. Yes. So reincarnation is not a Hindu belief, a Hindu doctrine. It's a science. So the point is this. If you say you don't believe in reincarnation, what is your reason for not believing in reincarnation? Then you say, well, I can't remember living before And so I can't remember living before having a previous life. So I don't believe in it. So what you're saying is that not remembering is proof that you didn't exist before? True? Well, let me ask you this question. Were you ever a baby 2 months old? Of course. You would say, yes, of course I was a baby 2 months old. Can you remember that? Of course, I can't remember. Okay. So you defeated yourself. Not remembering you were a baby 2 months old. Is that any proof that you were never a baby 2 months old just because you cannot remember? So my point is this. Even though we don't remember, but we don't accept ourselves as authority on existence. We're not even authority on our own existence because there are so many factors surrounding our existence. It's just like you take birth, right? But do you know everything about your existence and your identity? Can you say, yeah, when I was a baby, a month old, I used to cry like this and I used to do this and I knew what my parents used to. No, you don't know that. They know things about you that you don't. And similarly, our Father, God, He claims that He knows everything. Past, present, and future, and He says, I know all living beings. But Mantu Veda na Kasjana. But me, no one knows in truth. So obviously, when we want to know about ourselves and this law of karma and reincarnation, we have to hear from God in the Bhagavad Gita. And that's why Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, Tatrinu, just hear from me. We are hardened children, yes. We are hardened children in this world. Krishna is saying, just hear from me. How I'm practicing yoga in full consciousness of me with mind attached to me. You could know me in full, free from doubt. Now the thing is, when we know Krishna, we know everything. Everything becomes known. Because Krishna Surya Sama, He's like the sun. When it's nighttime and the place is completely dark, you can't see anything. You can't identify anything. You can't even see yourself in the dark. But when the sun rises, you can see yourself. And you can see everything else around. Well, Krishna Surya Sama, Krishna is like the sun. When you know Krishna, because everything comes from Krishna, He controls everything. Everything's related to Him. So when you know Him, Yasmin Vigyate Sarvam Evam Vigyatam Bhavanti. When you know Him, then everything knowable becomes known. Yes, that's the science of Krishna consciousness. So, don't forget the question. We are not deviating, but we're just trying to put the subject matter in context. Explain what is karma and how it affects the living entities, how it affects us. In other words, you say, well, I really don't know what's wrong with this God, and I can't understand why God had to make me with an ugly body. I have poor intellect. Why some people at the university, they have high, really good intellect. Some people are so handsome, so beautiful. I feel God give me a raw deal, you know. I don't understand this. So we need to understand this subject matter of karma. Or else we're going to point our finger and blame God for it. Krishna puts his disclaimer in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Nadate kasya chit papam, na chaiva sukritam vibho, agyanena vritam gyanam, tina mohyanti jantava. He said, don't blame me. I am not responsible for anyone's pious and sinful activities. Because the soul's consciousness is bewildered in this world, Then he performs pious activities, he gets some good result. He performs impious activities, he gets some bad result. So Krishna says, don't blame me for that. Fine, I'm the witness and I'm the permitter. I administer, I give you. I'm that. In fact, he says, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshya Arjuna Tishtati. I'm directing the wandering of the souls. And he's giving us what we deserve. Let us look. He said, explain what is karma and how it affects the living entity. Krishna gives a definition in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text 3. He defines karma as actions pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entity. Let's take that slowly. Actions pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entity. In other words, the development of this body, the production, the existence of this body is what? Actions in the past, actions pertaining to the development of this body. Yes. So it's an action in the past that has resulted in us having this particular body in a particular country, having particular appearance. Yes. Now if you, for students who are studying this subject matter, you can go to Srimad Bhagavatam, the teachings of Lord Kapila, where in Sankhya philosophy he enumerates everything, all the atoms, the elements, causes. So there he says, karmana daivanetrena. Now we're dealing with the factors that result in our situation. Karmana means by our actions, and daivanetrena means the divine judgment. The divine justice means the super soul within the heart who witnesses and permits everything. But it means the millions of devatas who are administrators in this universe, and they control and they give us things according to what we deserve. Yes, chaya, like shadow. As my hand move, the shadow would move. So according to how we act, we'll get bodies accordingly. Yes, we'll get body, we'll get facility under the administration of the devatas. Yes. So when you see things going on in the world, it is not by chance, it is not by blind chance. No. No Big Bang Theory. No. Karmana daivanetrina, by your karma and by the divine justice. Striya pravishta udaram. Striya means a woman. Udara means the womb. So the soul is injected into the womb of a particular mother. Striya pravishta udaram. Pungsareta, through the male semen. Yes. Pungsa means a man. Pungsareta kanashraya. So the idea is that somebody is witnessing. God is witnessing. The millions of devatas are witnessing. You're feeling uncomfortable. People seeing you all the time. Well, that's the case all the time. But it's just that in our ignorance, we think nobody is seeing, I can do this and I can do that and nobody won't know. Well, that's just like, deaf man, he can't hear and someone is calling him or he's asking for something and someone is responding and he's not hearing and he's blaming for it. Well, we in our ignorance, we don't know. God is speaking, He is giving everything. He's saying, just hear from me, but we are deaf, we can't hear. We're not hearing Him and we're not understanding what is going on. But actually, everything is being explained. Everything is very clear. But we in our ignorance, we are not picking up on what's going on. So here is saying actions pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entity. And Lord Kapila is saying that according to your actions in the past and according to Daiva Netrina, the supreme witness, Striya Pravishta Udaram, you are put into the womb of a particular mother to assume a particular type of body. Why you take birth in this country? Why you have these two people as your parents? Why is someone born blind and deformed? Why is someone born with a silver spoon in his mouth just living it up? Because of actions in the past, as you sow, so shall you reap. Where you make your treasure, there you would be. Right? So do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We should be careful and not impose on other living beings, because that is witnessed by the Lord, and we'll get back a reaction, and sometimes it's grave reaction. So we have to be careful. So how it affects the living entity, explain what is karma and how it affects the living entity. So when we are discussing the next subject matter, what reactions are produced by pious and impious activities, we will explain this in a little more detail. So we'll conclude here. I'm Rajarsi Dasa saying Hare Krishna, and do join us again next week for a continuing presentation.